There are so many filmmaking styles that allow a story to be told. From the rule of thirds to the use of depth to create interest, it's hard to make a choice on which technique you should use. Today, we're going to be looking at a filmmaking style that is taking over a lot of big screens: symmetrical compositions. Symmetry is visually appealing for a reason. It creates balance, harmony, and a sense of order, something that our brains are naturally drawn to. Wes Anderson is a master at using this technique, framing his shots so meticulously that every element in the shot feels like it's being placed with the utmost care. And this style and attention to detail is one of the main reasons why his films are so recognizable and loved. While symmetrical shots are beautiful, they're not always easy to pull off, especially when you're using wide-angle lenses. Wide lenses by nature tend to distort the image, especially when we are looking at tall buildings or long leading lines in a frame. Take a look at this shot with a typical wide-angle lens. Notice how the edges of the frame are bowed outwards? That's called barrel distortion. When trying to make something that looks like it's done in a perfect world, this can mess with the balance, making things look off-centered and uneven. So how do we fix this? Enter the first shift wide-angle lens made by Laowa. Laowa just released their 15 and 20mm, and I am super excited to integrate them into my work. Shift lenses are specifically designed to correct perspective distortions by shifting the lens element without moving the entire lens. And more specifically, when we look at these lenses, there are three rings that we can utilize. First, the focus, the aperture, and then we have this additional ring that allows you to shift the lens. This means that you can keep your frame symmetrical while maintaining a natural, undistorted perspective. They're perfect for architectural shots, interiors, or even wide shots where you want everything to stay perfectly aligned. Look at the difference while using the same lens without the shift function. On the left, I tilted up to get what I wanted in frame, which gives us that familiar distortion. On the right, I shifted the lens, which keeps the line straight, and everything stays as our eyes see it. So I have a lens gear here and I have motors. What can I do to add a new camera movement? So that's exactly what we're going to test by shooting a set of sequences to really test out these lenses and see if they're viable for my commercial work.
All right, so we just got this part fresh off the printer, and what we are trying to do is basically motorize the shift aspect of this lens. And I thought I could just mount it to the rails of whatever camera that I'm using, in this case the Venice. But then what happens is that the lens is moving independent from the camera. So if I have it attached to the camera, it's not gonna work and it starts skipping. And actually Charlie, who's filming this video, mentioned that to me, that I'm like, oh, I have to design something so I can basically mount the motor to the lens. And this is just a simple slip ring little system here that I designed quickly, and that will hold a 15mm rod. Then it's specifically sized for these lenses. So this is a 114 diameter, and then I just used some screws that were hanging around as well as some brass inserts if you come in here, and I just push those in with a heated iron. So this is typical manufacturing when you see in 3D printing, but I whipped this up quick, and this is like the second iteration of it, and I can just slip this on the lens in any configuration I want, really, and then tighten this, and this is not going anywhere. And I can shove a rod in here now, and then that is good to go too. So we're gonna kind of figure this out on the fly of what creative shots we can get with this. And then I'm gonna put my motor on. Probably gonna have to face it this way, tighten that down, and then tighten this down. So this is not ABS, this is just PLA. I don't want to print in an expensive material or anything. This is just a proof of concept, and once we get a concept down now, I'll print this out of a stronger material. And now I'm going to plug my focus motor in here and power that on. That's good to go. And I guess the only thing right now is to calibrate it. I'm just gonna hold it. It's gonna be easier. Hit the calibrate, and then it goes one way. Oh, and then it gets stuck. So that's because there's too much torque on the motor because it's moving the whole weight of the lens. Take this off, put the port cap on, and then calibrate this by just holding it. This should work. That's so cool. There, we're good to go. Now, I can take my port cap off, put my lens back on, and then the orientation doesn't really matter. I can put this in any orientation I want. Just because of the sake of the video, I want to go side to side like a trucking movement, and we're good to go. So let's see if this works. Oh, that's so cool. Now we can basically move the image circle of the camera in any direction we want. In this case, I'm going from left to right. and I can do this at a very high speed as well. And this would be really good for comedic value for any shots. So I have Wanjo here, and he's eating lunch. And then he also has a Coke can there. So let's set up the camera and see if we can set up any interesting shots here. So obviously this is just a proof of concept to see what we can do. We're probably gonna get a little bit more creative and show this to some directors like Justin, Adrian, or Jason to say like, oh, what would this be cool for? So right now, as a director of photography, if we even just look here, right? And I just go here, I feel like you can get some really interesting shots of just like him pushing the can forward and then coming back. So let's see what that looks like. Obviously we can see the tape on the table, and this is just proof of concept. I like to test these things and then show it to the directors, see what they would like. I'm just gonna add in a little light here too. Just to see some of the characteristics of the lens as well. You know, if it flares or anything like that, we get a little washed out right there. So, and now we have something to play with here. Perfect. I'll shoot at 6K because it's full frame, obviously to give you like the characteristics of the lens, and so we're not super cropped in. But I'm gonna shoot this at LT. So we're just saving on some space. It's still a ridiculous amount of space, but whatever. Cool, now we're good to go. 3, 2, 1, go. And then back. 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, that's cool.
I feel like put it down.
Put it like, okay, so that would've been like if I had an operator, ooh, we could actually do that. So if I like tilt down and then go, ooh, who's coming down? Who's gonna be my mystery puller? Jason, come here. So we're playing with some stuff here, and what we want to do is basically Wanjo puts it down, and then you just crank it.
Cool.
So you just go max speed.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, so we can just try it.
Okay, who's calling it?
Okay, 3, 2, 1, down, over. That's pretty cool. All right, 3, 2, 1, down, over. 3, 2, 1. I don't know, I'm gonna show this stuff to Adrian and Justin and see what they think of what you could use this as an interesting shot as a Wanjo. He just said like, oh, why don't we tilt down and get like the whole movement? So now we have this whole L of our movement, but this is how I would use these lenses. It almost looks like fake robotic movement. Like, what would this be useful for? So if we analyze this situation right now, that we're super close to the table, the camera's super close as well, and then that would be a short dolly movement. So you'd like need 2-foot pipe or something like that. So this eliminates all that grip, and it's just putting you on a tripod. So if we're in a tight space or something like that and I don't have access to put in a dolly, I feel like that would be the best use case for it. And if you want 2 axes of motion and you don't basically have room for equipment, I feel like that's the best thing.
Like you were saying before with like the comedic value, it would be cool if you had like a dialogue scene with like 2 people like face to face and you're kind of going like back and forth between them as well.
So now that we've done a proof of concept, let's light something and see how we could make maybe something that we shoot for ourselves, like an interesting skit. And then I know Justin and Adrian are gonna have some pretty cool ideas for that. So right now, I talked to Justin and Adrian, and their whole thing was like, oh, you could do this like comedic thing with like rock, paper, scissors. So I just quickly set up a backlight and then just top light here. Again, proof of concept, we're having fun, we're testing some things, and then like even how we have it here, Justin, if you do rock, yeah, and go back a bit towards the backdrop, slightly, right there, cool. And then now if I move all the way over here, we just have Adrian's perspective.
I think there's more shots that need to be involved to give it more context.
Oh,
for sure. But yeah, I think in this case, this is like the best way to do it.
What Adrian said is totally correct. We need more shots to give it context, but I feel like this would be like the specialty shot that would give it a lot more flavor, as well as that commercial value, which we're always looking for. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Go for it. You guys as directors, how would you use it?
I think it's just adding another element of creativity to like how you can get certain insert shots. It's a creative way to get different inserts that you don't normally see.
It's a good tool to use for like a reveal. If you're revealing an emotion or like a surprise thing, or like what we just did.
So now if we talk about improvements of what we're gonna do next, is having another one of these rod mounts on another side here, and then putting it on a focus ring. So honestly, I think we're probably gonna use these lenses. Yeah, like it opens up a lot of possibilities, because like, that was so easy to do, that was easy to do. And now if I put it like this, I can go in any direction I want because the lens body itself rotates. So like,
oh, that's crazy.
So if you wanted something even weirder, right?
So yeah, you're
vertical, right? I can go up and down or whatever you guys want. If you want to scan up a can or,
whoa.
Yeah. I feel like the possibilities are endless now.
I think it just opens up so many more possibilities to kind of like do whatever you want. I mean, the fact that you're able to even like go on an angle on like a 45, vertical 90, obviously going on the horizontal plane like we're doing with right now. And I think a really cool feature with this is like on the lens itself, you actually have degree markings.
Yeah, so you can go in any direction you want. Do you guys want to try the face thing?
I think this is gonna be like a good setup of the scene where it's like two people like whispering to each other. It's like, hey, so we're two people talking about this.
Yeah, why don't you guys go side by side? Okay, but
Too big body.
too big body. Yeah, Justin was like, oh, yo, that's crazy. Then you like tap his shoulder. Of like, yeah, that's even crazier. You know what I mean?
Maybe we could just pretend like we're knocking on somebody's door.
Okay, so we'll pretend it's a people, and then you knock on the door. Okay, so we just figured out our creative. This is the people of the door.
Action.
I went first last time, bro. Did we even text him if he's home?
Fuck. And that was our shift lens video. I want to thank Laowa for sending us both of these focal lengths to try out, as well as their whole 0D line. Super excited about these lenses, and I'm actually really excited to incorporate them in our work and my style as a cinematographer, because I feel like it complements it very much. Really trying to think of other creative ways to get different shots that look weird, that you get the question of how would you get that shot even. So thank you for Laowa for sending these lenses, and I hope you guys enjoyed these videos where we're kind of figuring things out, designing things, and really just having fun with filmmaking. If you're interested in more videos like this, let us know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.